Hello, everyone. Good evening. Uh, can you please respond in the chat box if you can listen to me? Hello, myself Vidhi Kumari from Tech OctaNet Services Private Limited welcomes you again in day 3 of Python development session by Mr. Harsh Pranjal. Without any further delay, let us start our today's session now. Now, the stage is yours, Harsh.
So good evening everyone. Till today we have covered list, variables, dictionary, tuples. We have seen how to work with zip, loops, iterations. Now we are going to focus on a major topic that is function. So let's see. If anyone having any doubt from earlier classes, let me know in the comment. Okay. So there are some few topics which I want to discuss with you guys. First one is list comprehension. Okay. So let's take an example. Suppose this is a list, right? I want to create a new list, okay? And I want that the elements of this list to be the square of each elements of my list. That is, I want this list to contain 1, 4, 9, 16, and so on. Okay? So we have two options to do this, right? See, we cannot use this one. We cannot use that copy function because copy function will just copy the same elements. It don't perform the square. Okay, we use a copy function. This is what we get. So if we use the copy function, this is what we get, but we want this, right? Not two, here we have four. Okay, so for this we have two options, right? Let's use a for loop. For I in my list, my new list dot append. Okay, just anyone just let me know what are the values that I is accessing, the values of I in this for loop. Okay, all the values of list is that's right. I will iterate over each value of list. Okay, so I want the square of these values, and these values are accessed by using I variable here. So we will do two things, right? I asterisk I, this will also provide us this square, or I double asterisk 2. Okay, this will also provide the square. Now if we will print, see, we will get the square of each and every number. So the things here that if you want to perform such simple operations, there are no need to use these for loops. There is something we use that is known as list comprehension. Okay, suppose is in this new list we want the cube. Okay, we want the cube of each elements of my list. Okay, so this is how we perform I for I in my list. right? And here we will give it I asterisk asterisk 3. See, it will produce the cube of each and every single element of my list. So this is what list comprehension is. Okay. In single line, we are iterating the for loop. See, notice one thing here. The name of the element inside the for loop should be the name of the element we want to put inside this list, my new list. Okay. So the basic syntax will be my new list equal to value we want to enter, value we want for variable in all list, right? And this variable is what value we want, right? If you want to perform some operation like cubing it or get the cube root, okay, just let me know from this similar example. If I want to create a new list, okay, from this similar example, if I want to create a new list with values storing the square root of my list, can anyone write the syntax here? What we should write inside this box to get the square root of each element of my list? Okay, so in maths, square root means power equal to 1 by 2. That's what square root means, right? So we will use this same thing. Just replace this 3 by 1 by 2, a small bracket. That's it. Let's see what we will get. See, the square root of 1 is 1. The square of root of 2 is this. The square root of 3 is this. 4, 5, 6. Right. Yeah, that's right. 1 asterisk asterisk 1. 1 by 2. Okay, guys. Now let me know, can anyone just format these strings? Okay, just format these strings. Means these floating values to only get the integer part. Okay, I don't want these decimal points or these large insignificant numbers after this decimal. I just want the first integer part. Can anyone do this? Yeah, 0.5 will work. 0.5 will also produce same answer. So can anyone will do this? I want only the integer values. See, the only work for this for loop here is to access each and every element inside this list. Okay, so let's break it down. What this for loop is doing, it will visit the first element, that is the value of I will be 1. Okay, then this for loop will give that value to this expression, right? So now the value of I is 1, and then we are calculating the power 0.5. The next time the value of I will be 2, the next time the value of I will be 3, and after accessing each value, the for loop stops. It gives the values to the front expression. The expression calculate that value and then give that value to my list. Okay, see what is happening. Suppose this is a new list, right? And this is the iteration of for loop. The first time the value of I will be 1, right? when the first iteration complete, when the first iteration of for loop will complete, the value of I is 1, and that value is given to this expression, and this expression will generate the value for the new list, and then and there that new value will be inserted inside the list. Okay, now the for loop will get the second value of I, that will be 2. Then again that 2 will be sent to that variable expression, and then expression again then perform some calculation over it, and then produce that, insert that inside the new list. That's the square root will be suppose 1 point, let's take 41. Okay, so this is how the new list will be constructed, right? So if we want only the integer value, this is the part which will be inserted inside the new list, right? So we just have to convert the type conversion of that expression, and it will generate the integer part only, right? Okay, so this is what list comprehension is known as. Similarly, there are dictionary comprehension. For example, I have a dictionary, and suppose the elements are 1 2 3 4. Okay, suppose I want to create a list of only keys. Okay, the list which holds the value of only the key, right? Just let me know. List. Okay, just anyone let me know the data type of this key list. Only the data type. The data type for the list is, the key list is list, right? Because we have initialized with list. See, list. Its type is list. Okay, because we have initialized the value with list. It initializes an empty list. Okay, key is an empty list. See, by creating this, again the type will be list. The type will be list, right? And same empty list we can define by using this also. It also creates a list. It's a similar thing we have seen earlier. Okay, let's leave that. I think in last session will- yeah, I described this example right in the last session. Why not int? It is because we are referring to the key, not the value. See, we didn't updated the values, right? We just have created this variable. No values will be inserted inside that. Okay, yeah, good evening. So no value is inserted inside that key list we have just created. Okay, so that's why the type is list. And if suppose we have inserted some value, suppose an integer value, okay, then also the type of the variable is always list, because it is a list. What type of value we are inserting inside that, it doesn't matter, right? It is always of type class. Say class list. Okay, so let's see. So we have two options here, right? Okay, just let me know the, okay, let's see first k in my list dot append k. Okay guys, just let me know, is this expression correct? It will only extract the key or the values also, this for loop. Yeah, so we are not using any function with dictionary, so it will only extract the key value, that is 1 and 100. Okay, see, oh, I think I missed that one in last class. See, here we have a problem with this dictionary, right? There is one key value that is 1, and there is another key value that is 100, and there is one more key value that is 100. Okay, so it is a rule. Okay, it is a rule of every language where we have any data structure like dictionary, the key value pair, wherever the key value pair exists, key should be unique. Okay, this 100 and 100, it arises a contradiction, right? Okay, just let me know, if I will print the 100th key value, then what will be printed, 3 or 4? The value 4 will be, wait. Okay, let's see then. Oh, sorry. Variable. See, the value 4 is used. Not error. The value 4 will be used. Why? See, what happened when we are creating this MyDic dictionary? It will do two things. First, it will create a key and assign a value 2 to that key. Okay. Then it will create a key 100 and assign a value 3 to that. When the second time I have entered the key 100 and then the value 4, this 3 will be erased and value 4 will be saved. There are no multiple 100 keys, right? Yes, it will be overwritten. So let me change the value to 1000. Just let's say let the example there. Help you to know. Let's create another dictionary. Now it's okay. Hmm. Okay, guys. Now let's print the variable list. Okay. See, by using comprehension, we can do this same thing again. I, sorry, let's use some K, 4K, 4K in my dictionary. This will produce the same list. Okay, same list. Okay, just let me know any confusion till now. If we redefine my dic, won't there be problem? Yes, there will be a problem. See, this dictionary will be overwritten by this one, but here we are only taking some examples, right? We are not writing a code. Okay, we are learning, so that's why I already override the examples. Okay, if problem, by stating problem you mean that error, no, there will be no error. It's only we are overwriting the dictionary by deleting this whole value. We are assigning a new set of values. That's it. If you want, you can change the variable and we can create a new variable in use. Okay, now it's okay. Analyst convention. Oh, just let me know. Key value list. Suppose we are creating a key value list. Okay, key comma value for key comma value in one. Okay, guys, just let me know. If I want to access both the key and values, what should be the statement I should write here? Inside this for loop with this dictionary variable, what should I write? If I want to access both the key and the value of the dictionary. Okay, if you want to access both the key and the value of the dictionary, you should use dot items. Okay, not and. We should use dot items to access both the elements. Okay, then also there is an error. See, see, there is an error. Whenever we are using append, we only provide one single value, right? This single value will be inserted inside this list. Append accepts only a single value, right? Here we are giving two values, comma separated values. We are giving two values, key and value, right? So it will raise error. Did you forget parenthesis around the comprehension target, right? So suppose now if you provide a bracket, now it won't produce any error, right? So by bracket, what does I mean? That each and every key value pair is converted into a tuple, and that tuple will be inserted inside this list. See what I'm doing. That my dictionary one dot items, it returns two things. Okay, it returns two things. First the key, then the value. Okay, now the k will be assigned with the value of key, and v will be assigned with the value of value. Okay, now we want to insert this key and value inside a list. Okay, this is the list. So we cannot inside like this k comma v. It will raise error, right? If you want to insert, what we will do, we will form a tuple. We will create a tuple or form k comma v. This will create a tuple for each and every key value pair. Here we have a key value pair 1 and 2. Here we have a key value pair 103. Here we have a key value pair 1004. For each and every key value pair, a new tuple will be constructed. And now, see, this whole tuple is considered as a single element. Okay, this whole tuple is considered as a single element. And now we can insert that element inside the list. Okay, comma B, right? And the list will print these all values. Suppose if I want to only print the first element, that element will be only this tuple. See, if I want to check the type of the element inside the list, the type of the element inside the list. See, by using bracket 0, we are accessing only the first element, and by using type, we are checking the type of the only the first element. Okay, the type will be tuple, right? So, any doubt till now? Did you guys understood this one? Okay, it's clear. So, guys, just a friendly advice: take your notebook and please note this one and also this one. And if you want, then you can also note this one with example, right? See, this comprehension is used very widely. Okay, you will use it every time when you want to code, or anytime your code consists of some frequency like uses now, or some uses where you have to use has map or has tables, you will always use this type of comprehensions. Okay, we have covered list comprehension, concatenation, working with zip tick. Let's see what is while loop. First, let me do comprehension thing. See, we are going to learn a new thing about string here. Anyone just let me know what will this line will print. It won't print anything. Null character means nothing. Okay. Okay, just let me tell you one thing about null. That is whenever the null is encountered, it will stop printing. Okay, not zero. See, one of the best example is, suppose I have a string 2. I have a string 2 of type string and I will give it a name as. Suppose I create a string 3 and I will do this minus tier 1 to 2 plus minus tier. Okay, print. This line will concatenate these two strings and form a new string whose value is this, right? So what happened? A string is accepted until the null character is encountered. Okay. So what happened inside my str3, HARSH and null is inserted here inside this one. Okay. And when we are printing the value, what happened? H will be printed, A will be printed, RSH will be printed, and when the print value encountered null, then and there the printing will stop. Right? Hers will be printed. Not a big deal, but what happened? We'll do this. Let's see what it will print. See, hers will be printed with a gap. Why? Because at this concatenation, the null value is present in front of us, right? The first string is mystr, which contains the null value. The second string is mystr, which contains the string hers, and that will be inserted inside this. See, when the print statement encounters /0, that is the null character, then and there the printing will stop. Then again, the printing will start from the next character after that, right? So if suppose I want to concatenate strings like this, see my new string. After my new string, there are no space. Okay, and before hers there is also no space. But while printing my new string, after that here is a space. Why? Because of this null character, right? If I put few spaces here, then also see there is a number of space increases, right? So that's what null character will do. So whenever parsing a string or iterating over a string or working with a string, always take care of these null characters. Covered the string concatenation part. Zip and dictionary, we have covered the dictionary here. Let's see what's something about zip. Suppose we have list one, we have list two, we will form list three with value zip, and we will do list one comma list two and print. Sorry, see, wait. Suppose let's give it an index 0. Hmm. See guys, okay, just let me know any problem till now till this string concatenation. No, right. So this first line when I was printing this, see zip object at where some random number is written, right? This number is in hexadecimal format. Okay, there are multiple formats of a number: hexadecimal, octa, binary. This is in a hexadecimal format, and it is a memory hash. Okay, this represents the memory address where the after creating the zip, the value is stored. Right. Okay, let's perform a dot copy here. So what will see again and okay, copy with value 0. See, we get an error, type error. Zip object is not subscriptable. It means that whenever we are using this 0, okay, why do we use 0? We use 0 to access a particular index, right? But here, this zip is producing a single memory hash, right? In last output, we have seen the memory hash in this three, okay, and this one. See, mm, see, we are getting a memory hash, and while writing this list 30, it means that we are going to access the zeroth index of this memory, which is not a valid expression. That's why we are getting this error. Zip object has not subscriptable. Okay, that's why we are getting this. Always use. It's a good practice to always use zip with for loops. Now we will do print I, and it will produce. Okay, so we have an error. The compiler will stop there. That's why we have to comment it. See, now it's okay. Now it is producing some values, right? Memory has and memory has used memory has, and let me write the error reason here. Memory as does not contain any index. Okay, so let's see why we are getting only two values here. The value 1 from list 1, the value 2 from list 2, and the value 3, 4, 5 are gone. Why? Because when what does zip do? It will produce a memory location with values. The first value will start from list 1, the second value will start from list 2, the first value will start from list 1 and the second value will start from list 2, and then and there it will stop because there are no other elements left in list 2. Okay, the same thing will happen. I will do list 2 at first and list 1 at second. See, just the location of the values are changed, but still only we are getting two values. Okay, so from this example we can say that length of zip is always equal to the small length of list 1 or list 2. Okay, everything clear till now, or you guys have any doubt? See, the syntax for while loop is while condition. Okay, so for loop operates over range, or there is for each loop which operates over iterable container, right? For while loop we have to produce an value like I is less than 10. Okay, suppose we have started with I is equal to 0, and for each value we will print I and we will increase I by 1. Can anyone just let you know the output of this one, this while loop? Okay, so it will print from 0 to 9, right? When the value of I start from 0, so here the first value of I will be 0, then 1 is added, then the value will be 1, then the value will be 2, and so on. It will reach until 9. In the next iteration, the value will be 10. Okay, when we put the value 10 here, this condition will get false, right? And the condition is false, that's why the loop will end and the print statement won't run for the value where I is equal to 10, right? So you have missed 0 in your output. So this is how while loop run, and so just one thing here, while loop is always used when you don't know the ending condition, or you don't know the length of container. By container means I mean iterable or any variable, but here we will write container, or you don't know the starting position. Okay, so while loop, okay, nothing. Now let's jump to exception handling. Okay, let's put exception handling at the last. Functions. Okay guys, so any questions till now about anything? This dictionary, for loop, while loop, comprehension, whatever we have studied till now from the day one. Let's see. Okay, suppose I have a variable A and a variable B. Now I want a variable C which holds the value of A plus B and print C. Okay, I have a variable D and a variable E. I will need a variable which will hold the sum of these two. Suppose like this, I have thousands of variables, okay? And like this, I have to perform addition over those 1,000 variables, okay? So for that, I have to write this addition values 1,000 times, right? For this, we can use for loop to loop over these values and create the sum. But we have a good option here, that is function. We will shortly see what a function is. Just suppose here we are just performing a single operation of addition, right? Suppose we have to uh, suppose instead of addition we have to perform what we will say factorial factorial of a up to b position. No, let's just factorial of it. Okay, so what we will do, suppose we have number a, b and e. For a factorial, see, this is a good example of while using while loop. Okay, factorial while a, we will initialize that value 1 fact into equal to a minus equal to 1, right? And print, we will not factor its value and see equal to sign. का भाई अच्छा 12 बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया। Did I something wrong with the logic or okay? So, yes, the factorial of 5 is 120. Right. So see, for each and every step, okay, so you guys know what a factorial is, the mathematical meaning of factorial. Okay, so the mathematical meaning of factorial is, so the mathematical meaning of factorial, suppose we are calculating factorial of here 5, right? Mathematical meaning for this one is that the value 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is the value of factorial, that is 120. Okay, okay. So for each and every step, just let me show you one more important field here. Say it is a .py extension file, okay? So it won't run in Jupyter Notebook. It runs on simple VS Code. See, there is one thing we call that as debugging. Debugging is some essential steps. Suppose you are creating a project, and in between a project you are there is some error, and you are not able to figure out what the error is about, or due to which variable the error is causing. So for that we use debugging, right? Suppose I will put marker here. Okay. So this is how we perform debugging in Python. This one is for debugging tab, or you can also start from here. Yeah, here the Python debugger. Okay, debugging code, and we will start debugging. Python debugger, Python file. Okay, now debugging will start. See, the initial value of a variable a is 5. The initial value of variable a is 5, and uh, the initial value of variable a is 5, and the initial value of factorial is 1. Okay, now we are entering inside this while loop. We are multiplying a with value factorial. We can also use Python file name. Yeah, Python file name is used to just execute the file to get the output. You are not able to see these steps. Okay, while we multiply a with that factorial, we will the factor value of factorial will be changed to 5. Now we are subtracting the value of a by 1. See, the value of a is changed to 4, right? Then again 4 is multiplied to factorial, and the value of factorial is 5. 5 into 420 will get 20 here. Then again the value of a will be changed to 3, 20, 60, and it will get to 120. Then the value of a will get 1. You will get then again 120. See, the last step, it's important one. After reducing a again by 1, we will get the value of a as 0. See, that's not that value 0 is not reflected here. Why? Because while the value of a is 0, what this condition will say, this condition will say while 0. And in last class I have told you that 0 always stands for false condition. Okay, so false condition, during the false condition, the control flow or these two lines will not be executed, and the program ends. The loop exits, and the like control line comes to line number 9. Okay, so see, this is one more thing in while loop. We have used else with if else, but here we can also use else with while loop, right? Whenever the condition of while loop will be false, this else will be executed. Let's run it again. Let's take some smaller values. Run it again. See, we get a value 3 and 1 after continuing this one. The value of a is 1. Now again, see, the value of a is 1 and we are subtracting -1 from it, right? Now the value of a is 0, and see, the value of a is 0, and when the value of a is 0, this while loop is false, and while the while loop is false, it comes in inside this else loop, sorry, else condition, and this statement will be printed. Okay, so this is how we perform debugging, and this is how we use while loop. Also, this is how we use else with while loop. The same debugging process we can also perform in here. Where should I put it here? The same debugging steps we can also use here in Jupyter. So after debugging, we have, so this is only for some variable a, right? This whole loop is only defined for some variable a. What will happen if I have a variable b? So for variable b, I have to again create a while loop, change everything to b, and we also have to create one more variable. See, then again, what will happen if you have a variable c? So for c, we also have to create a while loop similarly, right? So just observe here, we are performing factorial. Okay, here again we are performing factorial. Then again we will perform factorial if there is some new variable. So it is the best practice to create a function for that single code. That is what a function is. See, a function is a reusable block. Okay, this is how we define a function in Python. We will see it shortly. And inside that function, we will write the logic. We will write this while loop, and we will use this while loop again and again inside that function. Okay. So function is nothing but a reusable block. Okay. So let's see the use of a function. See, the syntax of function is the def keyword. It is a keyword reserved in Python for function. Suppose we are creating a factorial function. Let's take it. Okay, just can anyone just let me know the this while loop written here is inside this function block or outside that function? Let understood code inside while loop. Okay, okay, I will try to repeat that one. This code block is inside the factorial function or outside the factorial function? Yeah, so that one is outside. That is what indentation is very important in Python. We have a number 5. Okay, we call see, observe the output. Here we are getting the output. Okay, this 0 is printed for this one, right? See, we are using the same loop again and again for creating factorials for different variables without writing the loop again and again. This is the power of a function. Okay, what is function? Function is a block of code block of reusable code. That's it. That is a function. Now let's see more about function. So the line written here, it is a function call. Okay, this one is also a function call. Okay, guys. Okay, block of reusable code. See, suppose here we have created a function. Okay, let's take it as a is our factorial function. I think it's visible. Okay, and we have some codes written here. Okay, and here we have value 2, we have call 1, we have call 2, we have call 3, and so on. We have call 100. So all this call, what it will do, whenever the call will, whenever the one call is initialized, whenever one call is initialized, it will what it will do? It will again and again, sorry, it will again and again call only this function. Okay. Now one important question: do you need to call a function explicitly using print function, or will it be printed just? See, in Jupyter, it will print by itself, but if we are using .py file, it won't let it. Oh, the VS Code will print it, right? But while using some other platforms like I don't know about PyCharm, okay, I don't know, Collab will also print it, but it is not a good practice to just leave it there. You always have to put it inside a print function. Okay, so print. This will be great. This is a good one. Okay. See, here we get two things, right? Here we get one none printed here and another none printed here. I will let you know about these two things. Also, why it is printed here. Okay, that's a good question, and we will look into it when we see there are now multiple forms of a function. Okay, while calling this function, we are not printing this function here. Okay, we are not printing this function here. That this all these elements you are seeing are printed by using this print statement. This print statement. Nothing will be printed here. Okay, that's why we are getting these two none. Um, that's why we are getting these two none value. These none values were was printed by these two lines. Okay, each and every element you see here are printed by these. We'll get into it. Now, first, look at here. So we have multiple values. This 100 call function also call only this function block. Also, this call 3 will also call this function block. This is the real meaning of function, the reusability of a code. There are multiple calling statement, and all those call statement call only a single function. Okay. Now there are two things about a function. that is realistic. A function takes something, okay, and the thing that a function take, that is known as parameter, okay. Function produce some result, okay, and that result is known as return value. While calling a function, you may give something to the function. While calling a function, you may give something to the function, okay, and that is known as argument. Okay, this diagram is not a great one, but try to just note it down. Whatever the things that a function take is known as parameter. The function produce something that is known as return value. Whatever the call function give to the function, okay, whatever the call statement gives to the function, that is known as argument, right? So let's see here. See, the syntax of a function is define keyword, function name, and inside the bracket we defined all the parameter. Parameter 1, parameter 2. There are maybe multiple set of parameters. There are maybe 100 parameters present there. Okay. In a function call, the syntax is function name, and if the function has some kind of parameters, then you should have to pass the arguments. Okay. And the function return some value. Okay. We are expected this function to return the value 1 when executed. Now, okay guys, just let me know, did you understand the word parameter, return, and arguments? Just a quick yes or no. Okay. See, in this case, these two print statement, okay, these two print statement are printing none. These two print statement is always printing none because there is no return statement inside this function. This function is not returning anything. That's why it's printing none. If we will return one from this function, see, now one is printed. Okay. So let's see how a return works. We'll take new one. See, suppose this is a function block, and inside this block there are some codes. Okay, suppose this is call one. Suppose this is call one, this is call two, and this is call three, call four. There are code line one, and code line 2. See what happened. Your Python interpreter first execute this code line 1, then second executes this code line 2. Okay, then it encounters this call. Okay, when the interpreter encounter a call, it will call the function, right? So it will call the it will call the function. Okay, the function space, the code block inside. Is it compulsory to use return in a function? No, it is not compulsory to use return in a function. It always depends on your requirements. Okay, so the call one is always calling a function when the execution of a function is completed, right? When the execution of a function is completed, it always return to the place from where it is called. Okay, when the execution of this function block is completed, it returns to call one. It will return to this call one blocks, and after that, the call two will be executed. The call two will call this function. This function, after all executing all its codes, it will return to call two. Then call three will call this function. Then this function will return to call three. This is what happening in these here. See, when encountering this, okay, let's run the debugger. You will understand it. Okay, see, a equal to 5 is executed there. That's why we have a variable here, which has a value a equal to 5. Okay, then this print statement is executed. Okay, inside this print statement, a function call is there. So right now, the print statement will not be executed. It will be hold. First, this method, oh, sorry, this function will be called. Okay, see, the execution goes to the function directly. Inside this, from inside this print statement, the execution goes to the function. Now each and every part of the function will be included. Sorry, written. Okay, the each and every line, let me do one statement. Okay, see, when we come to print function, from there factorial is called. Then the interpreter jumps to the factorial function. It starts executing the factorial one. Each and every line inside that factorial will run. See, the value of a is decreasing. Then after that, the else condition will be printed. These print statements are running right now. Okay, any questions? Then after running each and every line of code inside the function, it encounters the return statement. Okay, and after encountering the return statement, see, it will come back to the print function. Now it's the time that when this print function will be executed. See, the print function is executed right now after completion of this function. After this function call, the print function is executed. So this is what I want to, you should observe that whenever a function call is there, then and there the execution of the function started. After the execution, the interpreter comes to the same line from where the function was called, and from there the execution goes on. Okay, here in this same condition, the execution start of the function block. After the execution, कितना value ले लो? See, after the execution, it will come to the return statement and return, right? So this is what happens with the function. Okay, so just let me know everyone that you understood the function cycle, right? How a function is called whenever when the code of the function is executed. Does it differ from recursion? As recursion is something else, we will come to recursion. Just let me know that you understood that how a function is called and how the function is executed, how the interpreter jumps from one statement to other. Okay. So as I told you, there is a parameter and there is a parameter and we have a argument. So let's see. We have total four combinations. Okay. With parameter, with argument, without parameter, without argument, with parameter, without argument, and sorry, without parameter, with argument. See, for example, for this first one, with parameter with argument, suppose we have a function name is add. We take two integers a and of type b. We will, okay, sorry, I have made a mistake here. Should be return type. Okay. See, with parameter and without argument, that is something we will use in function overloading, right? Yeah, it's something. These are four basic type of a function, right? With parameter with return type, with parameter without return type, and these are some different types of functions, right? We will see it right now. Suppose we will return. Let's make it simple. A plus b. It will return c with parameter with return, and we will call it print add the constant. Can anyone just let me know what will be the output of this line? Just the output of this one. Yeah, that will be 7. So the output is 7. So print statement is calling this function. This function takes two arguments, a and b, two parameters, a and b is added to c, and then c is returned. Then that c value is printed here inside this print function. Okay. So there are, we can call a function with two types, right? Print add b equal to 10 is equal to 6. See, when we call a function like this, it is understood that the value 2 will be assigned to a and the value 5 will be assigned to b. Okay. But when we call the function like this, we already define that which value is assigned to which variable inside that function. Okay. We are sending 6 for a and we are assigning 10 to this b, right? Okay, without parameter, without return, we have suppose with subtract and get a function. input enter value, the enter value, print a minus b, and this is just a function call. Okay, so while running this function, say it is asking for the values to enter for value a. Okay, suppose for a will be 10. Say it is asking for the value of b, because we will provide 5, and it is printing 5. Just anyone just let me know why this none is printed. Just the last line, why this none is printed. There's no return type. No, no, the print statement does not depends on the argument. See, in this case, def see, in this case, yeah, no return statement is the correct answer. In this case, we have seen earlier, right? If you don't provide any return statement, yeah, if you don't provide any return statement, it will return none, because no return statement is there inside this block uh, function. That's why. So here no return statements are there. That's why, yeah, no return value. Right. So with return type, let's create a new block. Okay, let's take this parameter without return type. Okay, guys, can anyone just write the example for without parameter and with return type? Without parameter, with return type. See, that printed value 5 is not printed outside the function. It is printed inside the function. Print return none by default if there is no return statement. Yeah, print return none if there is no return statement. See, print return none in two cases. So there are no return statement inside this. So there is no return statement inside this function. So I have told you that if there is nothing, there is a none value. Okay. So there is no return statement written inside this function block. But the interpreter, after executing this function, the interpreter has to come back to this print statement, right? For that, the function by default return none value. If you don't define anything, the function return none value. Okay, that's why the none is printed here inside the print statement. Okay, guys, just try to write the function with without parameter and with return type. Without parameter, with return type. There should be no return type. Okay. Yeah, that will be right without parameter with return type. Suppose create a list, my list values and then we will call my function with my list. See, it is calling the function. So in function, basically we can the parameter is equal to input enter b is equal to enter number. See, you have to provide a return type, right? Okay, so in this function, the parameter is of type list. So we are sending a list from here. A will receive a list, and it is only just printing the list. It is only just printing the list. That's it. Okay. So guys, any problem till now about the parameters, arguments, or the return types, the return statement? Anything about that? Okay. So let's see some standard guidelines about writing a function. So whenever you write a function, suppose I'm writing a function convert to dictionary and I'm receiving list 1 and list 2. Okay. The first thing you should do is to write what this function will do. This function takes two lists and create a dictionary from them. Okay. So this function takes two. So this line is not known as the function documentation. It always tells that what is the main purpose of this function. Okay. Now create a variable for a comma b in zip list 1 comma list 2 will create my dictionary with values k equal to g. Okay. If you want to return this dictionary, return it like this. And this is how it tells the returning value, the type of the returning value. Okay. With using this arrow, we tell the type of the returning value, that is dictionary. Okay. So uh, in this syntax, just add here return type. This is how we declare the type of the data that we are returning. These are the parameters. If you want, you can declare the type of the parameters, list and list. This def keyword is only reserved for defining a function. So shouldn't it? Yeah, pp8 compatible. Yeah, that's right. It should be pp8 compatible, and this is what pp8 states. Okay, writing a documentation inside a function. Okay, so let's write the call. We have list 1, value 100, 200, 300. We have list 2, value 1, 2, sorry, 1, 2. Okay, guys, just let me know the output of this whole block. What will be the output if I run this code? Okay, so here we have a problem here. Okay, see, when I'm executing this code, this is the output I'm getting, right? But when you execute this same code in a .py file, you won't get any output. There is no output is there because there are no print statement. Okay, this is a Jupyter notebook. That's why it prints without using the print statement, which is not the convention. Okay, we always have to use the print statement, right? So we have a problem here. This function is returning a dictionary. Okay, this function performs some operation on these two lists, list 1 and list 2, which we are sending from here, and it is performing some operations on them and producing a or creating a dictionary and returning that dictionary. We have to declare something to receive the dictionary. So here, my dictionary is receiving the dictionary. Okay, this is a variable which receives this return variable. Okay, this return format, right? So if a function is returning something, you should have to create some variable in the main side to receive that return value. Now, print my dictionary. See, it will also work for .py file. See, okay. Now, here we are giving this list 1 value to this list 2 variable. Okay, we are sending that list 1 value to this list 2 variable, right? And we are sending this list 2 to this list 1 variable in the function. Okay, this list 1 is catching list 2, this list 2 is catching list 1, right? And there are 3 values in list 1, 3 values in list 2. This zip function will form only 2 values, as I have told you that the size of a zip is always be the minimum size possible, that is 2. Okay, and creating the dictionary, returning this dictionary, and we are getting that return dictionary inside this variable and printing that variable, right? This is how a function work. This is how you should write a function. By declaring the return type, it doesn't mean that it always return a dictionary. Okay, see, it's returning a string. We are getting a string here, we are printing a string, no problem, right? Just it is just a convention. Okay, okay, no problem. Let's come to recursion. So okay, at 2 and 5. See, guys, this is a function call. It calls this function. Okay, we are creating a variable to catch this return value. We are creating the type of the return value. We are creating the documentation. Okay, and function, right? So it won't return print anything. We don't get anything statements. See, everything is good. Now suppose instead of returning C, this function will return add C, comma A. That's 7 or I'm not 10. Okay. So we will return the value C. See guys, there is a basic difference between a function call. There is a basic difference between a function call and a recursion. Okay, always the function call will start from one point of a program and it will execute the function block and it will then return to that point, right? This is a function call, right? uh, for example, we have seen many function calls like this is calling the function, my function, and then it will be returned to this function only. Okay, this function call is triggered from outside the function, right? So this is known as a function call. You are getting some error here around? See, now what is a recursion? See, we have a function block. Okay, this is my function. Now what we are doing, from inside of this function, we are calling this function again. Okay, from inside of this function, suppose here we have first line of code, second line of code, third line of code, fourth line of code, and in fifth line of code, and in fifth line of code we are again calling the function again. Then this execution of this function all starts again from fifth line of code. This function will call itself. Okay, again from this function is called itself. This is what recursion is. So the recursion is also calling. Mhm, mhm. Okay. Okay. See, from this result, from this result, from this result, this function is called, right? So the compiler jumps to area. Just a second, guys. Java slow again. Okay. Guys, if anyone have any problem or any questions, Okay, now it's good. Okay, no problem, friend. See, let's start the execution. From this line, the add function is called. Okay, the execution jumps to the add function. See, the execution jumps to the add function. Now, the values C, there two variables were created, A and B. Now again, let's see that 2 and 5, that 2 and 5 addition of 2 and 5 is assigned to this variable C. Now again, there is a return statement, and inside that return statement, again the function is called, and the function is called with value C and A. Now the value of C is 7, the value of A is 2, right? The values 7 of this C is assigned to this A, and the value of this A will be assigned to this B. Okay, see, after this, again this function will be called. See, the value of that 7 from this C is assigned to A, the value of that 2 from A is assigned to B. Again, this C will be created using 7 plus 2, that will be 9. And from here, again, this add function is called. Okay, again, this add function will be called with a value 9 of C and 7 of A, right? See, again, that add function is called executed with value 9 of A and B as 7. Again, that C will be calculated, which is 9 plus 7, that will be 16. Now, this if condition is true, 16 is greater than 10. So, this if condition is true. Okay. See, inside this if condition, return C is there, and the value of C is 16, right? That 16 will be returned to this return statement because the last function call is executed from here, right? See, the return, it returns a value 16 to the last call. This 16 value is again returned. See, this 16 value is again returned to the last call of the function from inside this return statement. That 16 value is returned. Again, that 16 value will be returned. That 16 value will be returned to the result. Then the print statement will be executed, and the program ends. Right? So, what is the return process? The return process of recursion, right? So, suppose these are your function blocks. कोड नहीं डालता हूँ. So what happened at the return statement? This function is again calling itself. Suppose this is also the same function block. This one is also the same function block. After executing each line, this function block is also again calling the same function block. Okay. Suppose we have given a exit statement that if value of c is greater than 10, then it will return. Suppose we will return 1. Okay, for simplicity. See, when you will encounter this value now, as I told you that from the point where a function is called executed, the same point is where this function will return its value. Okay, this function will return its value to this point from where it is executed. Again, from this point, this function will return this value to the point from where it is executed, and from this point this function will return this value to the call function from where it is called, right? That was the same thing which was going on here. When we encounter the value 16, it will return the value 16, which comes here 16. Okay, the value from 16 from this part comes to the last function, and again the value 16 from this part comes to the last function. Say recursion is like complicated topic. You cannot understand it in one go. You have to practice to get recursion. Okay, just let me know that the calling part of recursion is okay with you. I mean, means that you understand the calling part, calling and returning part of the recursion. What is recursion? How a recursion is called and function is executed. Okay. See, if you can't get recursion, you should discuss recursion in next classes. But let's jump to class and objects. Okay. So guys, till now we have seen multiple types of data type like list, dictionary, int, boolean, float, and we have string, and we have tuple, and many more. Right. So class and object is something which gives power to the user to define a variable of their own kind. Okay. So by using class and objects can define our own data types. So this page in PPT. No, no, no. I think I lost that one. See, suppose I want a type of variable. Okay, inside of that variable, I want a list, I want a dictionary, and I want two integers, and I want a float. These things I want inside a data type. Okay, so what are our requirements? Create a data type which contains contain suppose list, dictionary, integer, boolean value, suppose that's it, and a float. So the same thing will be achieved using a list. No. So the same thing will be achieved using a list, right? We can have a list inside a list, a dictionary inside a list, an integer value inside a list, a boolean value inside a list, and a floating point inside a list, right? But suppose I want to write a code, or suppose create a code to represent a dog. Say, suppose represent a car. Suppose a, a car, a car is a real life entity, right? It is a real life object. How come we can represent a car inside a code? Like, right? So that is what class and objects gives us power to create any type of data type inside this. Okay. So suppose we can create a type of car. Okay. So what are the requirement of a car? A car should start. It has some color. It is either a petrol or a electric one, right? These are some requirements of the car, right? So we have to design a variable inside the Python code to represent a car. We have to represent a car inside the code, right? So the class and object classes are used to create blueprint of real life objects inside. Just right. Right. So classes are used to create a blueprint of real life objects in code. Let's see what does it mean. So first of all, let's see the syntax. We have the class keyword, my class name, colon. The name of my class will be suppose. Okay, just let it. And it has suppose what we need. We need it should start. So let's say start will be a boolean value that it is started, that is it's turned on or turned off. Suppose false. Okay, suppose we have a color of the car which is a string value. Suppose the car is of color black, and we have petrol. Suppose we have a petrol car, so it will be a boolean value, that is it is either a petrol car or a electric. So suppose it is a false value, it is an electric car, boolean value true. See, this is how we create a class. Okay, the syntax is class keyword, class name, and all the variables you want inside that block. So guys, just let me know that any problem or any questions till now. What is blueprint or why there is a need of class and objects? Okay. So suppose we have to create, we have to represent a dog. Sorry, a dog. Okay. So we will create a class dog. right? So there are a few things about dog. That's a color string. Suppose it's a brown color, and we have breed, some XYZ breed, and then we have length, which will be of 4. We have a value suppose 12.34, and we have age, which will be of type int of 12 years. See, all these things are defining a dog, right? The color of the dog, the breed of the dog, the length, the age of the dog. So the variables which are defining about the different features of the class, those are known as attributes. See, these features are defining about, sorry, these variables were defining about the features of this class, right? That the car is in start condition or not, the color of the car, it is a petrol or electric one. So these are known as attributes. Okay, so these are known as attributes. This is how we create a class, and class are class are nothing more than just the blueprints of real life objects. So does anyone have any problem till now? Okay, guys. So these are some basics of class and objects, just the basic. So we have let me tell you something that is okay. So there is something known as OOPS, right? Which is object oriented programming. Okay, so using class and objects, OOPS is implemented. Okay, so see, using class and objects, OOPS is implemented, right? So what is OOPS, object oriented programming? See, till now what we have seen that we create a variable, we perform a plus b, then we return the value. Okay, we create a list, we gather so many variables inside that list, we perform something like performing cube or finding something, some there are sort functions to sort the list, we are doing these things and then printing the answer, right? So just I have a question for you, that is, so that is the, what do you think that that is the main purpose of these programming languages, to just perform addition and performing some basic sorting or some other executions on those lists and just printing the basic values, right? So suppose you have assigned with a task to create a software task to create a software for a banking application. Okay, you have to suppose SBI comes to you and they told you that you have to create a software, for their banking system, right? So suppose for that we do a requirement analysis. Suppose what was the requirement for them? The first requirement will be account for peoples. So the second requirement will be some operations on accounts like withdraw and debit. That is the same thing. Credit, check balance. Okay. The third thing will be creation of account, or in this case we can call it deletion, or you can say that we should close the account. That is the same. So these are the basic requirements. You are asked to create such a functionality which will create an account for the peoples, which will perform operations, withdraw, credit, check balance, creation and deletion of those accounts, right? So just let me know how will you create all these. Suppose, for example, what I can think of is that suppose we take a string of name, right? It will hold the name of the account holder, the person whose account it is. Suppose we take something account number, which is of type int. Okay. Suppose this is the account number of the person. Suppose what do we have? So we have balance with type float and value. Suppose this much. Okay. So only these three variables is valid for a single person, right? For person one. Similarly, for person two, we will again create all these variables. Okay. So as we told you that there are nearly a total sum of 1000 persons, and maybe they increase in future. Okay. So just let me know if suppose you have created the account balance and account for 1000 peoples. Now there is some new people are coming to you and they are saying that we have to create an account. Then you will again create all these variables for that the one person. No, right? So for all these, you have to. So the solution for this one is that simple thing, right? Create a class account. Okay, account having all these values. Just delete this value. ओके, किसी ने उस दिन पूछा था कि नन का यूज कहाँ होता है, राइट? द यूज ऑफ नन. So here we are using none because we don't know the values of name, account number, and balance of the person. That's why we are using none here. Now, what it will do? It will create a single variable name account for us, right? Now, whenever a new person come, we will just create a variable for them, and this P1 is used for name, for account number, for balance. See, this is how we are implementing a account in the programming, right? So, uh, see, the classes are used to create the blueprint of a real life object encoding. Account is a real life object. Account is a real life object, and we are using class and objects to create that account in this programming, right? So see, there are many multiple things about class and objects. Okay, first of all, uh, okay, I would suggest you that. So first of all, I will suggest you that you will go through all these methods, functions we have covered today. Okay, those list comprehensions. We will again, if you are not comfortable with recursion, you can leave it for right now. For now, okay, just leave the recursion part. Just go over these basics like class or blueprints. How are we writing a class? What are attributes? Okay, just these things. Only the theory part. Okay. In the next session, we are implementing a class and objects from scratch. Okay. From scratch, we will implement the class and object functionalities in Python. Right. So for today's class, does anyone have any question or any queries? Yeah. So yeah, that's 100% correct. Classes are framework for storing data, and we can create that framework as per our need. I have created here string int float. Suppose you need something else. Suppose you need a list, so you will create a list. So we can create this framework as per our need, and it is used for storing data. Future and its users and yeah, it is used frequency of elements. Okay, see, I have a list. We have to calculate the frequency of all elements, right? We want the output like this: one with value. How many ones are there? Suppose there are four ones, right? Two with value two, three with value two, something like this. This is how we calculate the frequency. For this, we use dictionary. Okay, for I, my list. If I in my depth, sorry, my depth, I is equal to one, else my depth equal to one, infinite. First one, our size not, oh sorry, equal to. See, this is the frequency calculation. This is the frequency calculation. Let me explain what is going on in here. So I is iterating over each and every element of list, that is one, two, three, four, and every element. So suppose in first case the value of I is one, right? We will check that my dictionary contains one or not. Okay. When we are executing this line, when we are executing this, it checks if I is the key in dictionary or not. So currently my dictionary is empty. So I is not inside my dictionary. So this condition is false, right? When this condition is false, we went to the else statement. Okay, and what we are doing, we are creating a new key of value I and starting with it with 1, right? So suppose the value of I is 1, 1 is not inside my dictionary, then we are creating a key value 1 with starting value of 1, right? Whenever the second time 1 is encountered inside this list, see, then we will check, if 1 is inside dictionary, and it will produce yes, true value, because we have created the value 1 inside that dictionary. Now if it is true, then what it will do, it will increase the value, this value, by 1 each and every time whenever 1 is encountered. That is 2, then again encounter, then it will increase to 3, then increase to 4, then 5. This is how we calculate the frequency. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, guys, let's conclude for today. And I will suggest just go through these functions, methods, different 4 types of methods. See the basics of class and objects, only the blueprint part, and these things. We will start class and objects from scratch from tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, that was all for today's session. Hope you enjoyed your class and thanks for your support. See you tomorrow in the last class.